Mozambique is sending a team of police officers to Tanzania to find out the identity of the more than 100 armed militants arrested last week in Tanzania. Police spokespersons say they are going to interact with Tanzania to learn more about the detentions. Tanzania accuses the detainees of planning to set up bases in Mozambique. There have been at least 50 suspected militant Islamist attacks in the north of Mozambique since October last year. 90 people have been killed and more than 1,000 families have fled their homes in the gas-rich province of Cabo Delgado, close to the border with Tanzania. Kenya's High Court has released Governor Okoth Obado, who has been charged with aiding and abetting the brutal murder of his ex-girlfriend on a $50,000 cash bail. The Migori County governor has been in custody since his arrest last month, which followed weeks of public anger after the body of Sharon Otieno, a 26-year-old university student, was found in a forest. A post-mortem revealed she had possibly been raped and stabbed 8 times in the neck, abdomen and back. She also lost her unborn child during the attack. The married governor, his assistant and a county employee who have also been charged with murder have all pleaded not guilty to the charge. His assistants were denied bail as the court said they may interfere with investigations. The next hearing will be on 17 May 2019. The second-in-command of the Islamic State group in Somalia is reported to have been killed in the capital, Mogadishu. Mahad Muhalim, who is on a U.S. sanctions list, was shot dead by gunmen who are also believed to be members of ISIS. Local media says the killing was related to a power struggle amongst the jihadists, as the leader of the group is reported to be in poor health. IS is thought to have between 400 and 500 fighters and is most active in the region of Puntland. The militant group, also known as Daesh, is an arch-rival of the jihadist group Al-Shabaab. Joining us now is a security expert, Chidi Nwonu, to discuss more on this. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Mahad Muhalim is believed to have been shot dead by gunmen who are also members of the Islamic State. What could have motivated this killing?
Well, the interesting thing is that we're still not very sure who were the perpetrators of the attack. So there's two obvious choices, either Al-Shabaab or Islamic State or Daesh in Somalia. If it is Daesh, then it's most likely related to a power struggle. The commander of that particular faction, Mumin, is quite ill. He hasn't been seen for a while, and that faction has been relatively quiet for some time and have been under a bit of attack. So it might be linked to his ill health, or he might be dead, and this is just part of that power struggle. Or it could be Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab and IS in Somalia have been acting quite fratricidally and picking each other off. So this could have been an opportunity for Al-Shabaab to weaken IS in Somalia. So until we know who actually perpetrated it, until there's actually a claim of responsibility or some hard evidence, we can't be sure whether this is a factional struggle or it's just the kind of fratricidal struggle between IS and Al-Shabaab.
So Chidi, does this killing give rival group Al-Shabaab an edge over the Islamic State group in Somalia?
It should give them a little bit of an advantage, depending, on how it's exploited. So, if this was something that was done, even if it was something that was done internally by IS, to one of their own, it creates a power vacuum, and it will mean people who are loyal to, Mualim, might be looking for revenge, and there might be more, internal fighting in IS. So it might give Al-Shabaab a bit of an advantage, but all in all, it's kind of just like a rebalancing of deck chairs. It doesn't really change the balance of power as much as it could.
This killing also brings to mind the Boko Haram crisis in Nigeria, where we have the Abubakar Shekau-led faction who are both wreaking havoc in the northeast of the country. How should the Somali government react to this threat from the Islamic State so that it does not become a bigger menace to the country's security?
It's a very good analogy. If you look at the issue in Nigeria between Boko Haram with Shekau and al-Banawi, although they are opposed to each other and there was a little bit of fighting between the two of them, they're not as divergent as maybe what is happening in Somalia between IS and Al-Shabaab. You can see now that al-Banawi and ISWAP is now going down the route of Shekau, of taking hostages and killing them. So there's not that much of a divergence. However, in Somalia, there's a much bigger ideological and operational split between the two. So for the Somali government, this kind of fratricidal killing between within the jihadi groups is to be welcomed because it weakens their enemy. And if it is seen to be Al-Shabaab, attacking IS, then there should be a revenge attack, and then that will occupy those two groups fighting each other and maybe give the Somali government a bit of breathing space.
Finally, the United States has been targeting both IS and Al-Shabaab with airstrikes for some time now, but it seems Somalia is still finding it difficult to subdue these terrorists. Why is this so?
And airstrikes are an effective tool if you hit the right people and you hit them at the right time, but it doesn't replace the two key things, which are actually controlling the security on the ground by having troops on the ground and good governance. So a lot of the issues in Somalia come down to corruption, come down to poor governance and a lack of development. And that's where Al-Shabaab or their originators, the Islamic court, stepped in and kind of filled that void. Until the Somali federal government actually steps up its game and starts, governing the country properly, it's very unlikely that, these groups will start losing traction. And then once they start governing properly, their security should be able to follow through with, a more efficient and more proactive police force and a more efficient and professional army, which will be able to hold these groups and then actually dominate the ground and prevent them from actually proliferating.
Chidi Nwanu, security expert, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Barbara.
7 Ethiopian migrants are believed to have drowned after a boat carrying 13 people capsized off the coast of Tanzania in the northeastern region. Police Commander Edward Bukombe says of the people on board, 12 were Ethiopians and the boat captain, whose nationality has not been identified, is still missing. Mr. Bukombe says 5 people have been rescued and the search is ongoing for the missing person, as investigators are yet to identify those who had organized and financed the trip. He further stated that the Immigration Service is in touch with the Ethiopian embassy to arrange for burial arrangements for the dead. The survivors told police that they were en route to South Africa. Still to come on the program. The United Nations releases a report detailing abuses committed against civilians in South Sudan. Please stay with us.